Do you have some memorable fashion or beauty choices that you made in your teen years?
Just a
Yeah,
few.
and when I say memorable, that could be good memories or very, very bad memories.
Oh, yeah.
The answer is probably yes. And today we're going to talk about that. So hi, everybody. I'm Dani.
And I'm Katie.
Welcome to a bonus episode of Generation In Between, a Xennial podcast, or Xennial, like Katie likes to say. Today we're going to talk about our top 3 memorable beauty / fashion choices from the mid to late 90s. Okay, because that was our coming of age, teen years, high school, college, beginning of college for me. So I feel like that's when things get real crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's totally when you're kind of trying to find your style. But what's interesting is I was looking back at some of these and I was like, wow, I really thought I was just being like so unique. But like,
right.
I was literally doing the trends that everyone was doing.
Exactly. That's what happens. And it's so funny because a lot of the stuff that we're going to mention has totally come back, which is how you know you are middle-aged. Is
Right.
all the bad choices you made in fashion and beauty come back to you.
Yep.
And they're still bad when they come back.
Exactly.
So we're just going to go back and forth with our top 3. We don't really have a lot of research or information. This is just chatting and rehashing and remembering.
Oh, yeah. And if you have something to add to this, or if you were born a little later than that, something maybe like early aughts fashion or beauty, or 2010s fashion beauty, or maybe the 80s or 70s, definitely contact us through our email or on our social. Pictures. Yes, we'd love to hear about it.
We'll post pictures too. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even. Yes. All right. So let's jump right in. Okay. I'm going to talk about number 1, a memorable fashion. Well, this is a beauty trend. Okay. This is the number 1. And this was probably my worst. It was the regret that keeps on regretting.
Uh-oh.
And that would be the pencil thin overplucked eyebrows of the 90s. Yeah. So that was the absolute worst for me because I plucked my natural brows to death. And I had amazing eyebrows. Like I did have a unibrow, but they were big and beautiful and what is totally in style now, right? But I was in high school and I still remember this conversation. A friend of mine, her and her sister were beautiful. She had an older sister that was like 2 years older than us. It was my sophomore year, so 1995. And we were in PE one day and she was like, Dani, your face would look so much more defined and pretty if you plucked your eyebrows.
Oh, boy.
Yes. I'm not even going to say your name, girl, but I remember this. And I was like, oh, how do I do that? Basically, you just pluck the tar out of them is what you did. And then that started. And once I started plucking, y'all, I could not stop. I plucked them to the death. And guess what? Fun tip. You overpluck some hairs. Sometimes they don't grow back.
Ooh.
So I tried a few years ago to let my eyebrows grow in because once you start plucking, you got to keep going, right? You can't because then they look crazy. I tried to grow them in and I literally have bald spots. I can't grow my natural eyebrows back. Do you know what did come back? The unibrow. So I still have to pluck that. But I've had to do microblading twice just to have an outline of like eyebrows. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I had bushy eyebrows and still do, and so I didn't do them like super thin because they're just
You're so lucky.
I mean, I guess I could have like plucked them to death, but they were thinner than they are now. But I had the unibrow too, and that was a whole thing. And I think I even like probably by college was waxing it myself, like the middle, maybe my girlfriend's, and that's never a good idea because whole pieces of eyebrow go missing and you're lucky if that grows back in any like normal amount of time.
Way. It's just so that was my worst. That was my most memorable choice back then because it has stayed with me the rest of my stupid life. I have horrible eyebrows now. So stay away from the tweezers unless you're super certain that you don't care if that hair comes back.
And you're committed for life.
Yeah. That created my addiction to tweezers that I have now broken. But I never did the waxing. I didn't because I have super sensitive skin.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'll have to show you a picture because Katie is looking at me right now and she's only met me with my microbladed eyebrows, which ironically, the microblading still doesn't take to my skin and I still have to use an eyebrow pencil. I know. It's like I can't win, y'all. The 90s killed me with the eyebrows. All right, so tell me your number one.
Okay. So mine was Sun In.
Oh, the Sun In.
Which apparently still exists. I found it. You can buy it at like Target and on Amazon for like $5. Yes. So let me say what it is and then I'll tell you what I found. I found some beauty article about it. I don't know if it was from like this year. Anyway, I don't know if it's sponsored or not. It didn't look like it, but who knows? Yeah, so it's Sun In. Literally, you sprayed it on your hair. Whatever color your hair was.
Right.
It could be black. It could be red. It could already be brown. And the idea was to make your hair lighter.
It was supposed to look natural, right?
It was supposed to look natural.
Never did.
I know for my hair, I have darkish hair. I'm a brunette. And it would be more orange.
Yes, same.
Than blonde. And the more you did it, like the more orange it would get. Yes. And it would just get like sticky. Like,
yes.
Like, you know, you would almost need a clarifying shampoo just to get it out because your hair would just almost be like caked, even if you washed it.
Yeah, it would dry your hair out too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually never knew what it was, but it is just a weak solution of hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
That's it. And I found, that's what it was. I found an article from Allure magazine, right? So fashion, beauty magazine, but it's from 2022. So pretty recent. The author was a man and he said he was told by his hairstylist after he got like a new cut, he had longish hair, maybe to his shoulders, to add a little Sun In to give it a little more dimension. And the guy was like, what?
A hairstylist told him that?
According to this article.
I would like to know their qualifications.
And so the guy did. He kind of just spritzes a little when he gets out of the shower and he said he loves it. And that's why I looked it up on Target and Amazon. I'm not about to do it because I don't currently pay to have my hair colored, but for years I did, and I know like how expensive getting to the blonde was. And,
oh gosh.
And I feel like I'm close to probably getting more gray hair. I've had a few.
You're so lucky.
So I don't want to, like, I'm happy with my color right now. Right. So I'm just going to leave it alone. But I was kind of like, oh my gosh. And I don't know about you, Dani, but the Sun In would go hand in hand with like the baby oil.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't listened to our episode on tanning and tanning beds yet, you definitely got to go have a listen to that because that was also a little beauty trend that I would say is probably my worst choice from a health and even just how I looked perspective. But anyway, so Sun In was mine.
Sun In.
If you want to give it a shot, y'all
don't do it.
Don't.
I'm gonna tell you not.
Don't do it.
I did the Sun In. Now, see, I'm a natural brunette like Katie. And I will tell you on dark brown hair, what Sun In does is turn it orange. Mm-hmm. There's no, you can't
straight up.
You can't lighten brown hair easily. And I'm living that now. Now I have gray, like I am brunette, but I started going gray 10 years ago. So I do color my hair. Mm-hmm. My hair right now is like a pink and brown and all these other shades. Cause I'm in the process of trying to lighten it so I can have fun colors. And it's a lot of work. I don't do it myself. I let professionals handle this mess. So stay away from the Sun In. Yeah. But yeah. And my sister is a natural blonde. She's like one of the sickening natural platinum blondes. Like she'd get this natural highlights on the sun, right? Yeah. She also has like these crystal blue eyes. I know. But anyways, Sun In actually did work on her hair.
So I think if you're already blonde, it maybe does.
Yeah, it
or
did.
Or if you have little, like one of my daughters is like kind of like a dirty blonde. I feel like when she's just naturally in the sun,
right,
without Sun In, she has little highlights that come in from the sun. So I guess it's the same idea. You're sort of accelerating that process if your hair is going to be able to do that.
Right. But if you don't have blonde hair, stay away from Sun In.
Don't do it.
All right. So those are our number ones. Mm-hmm. All right. So my number 2 on my list is it's memorable. And I feel, okay, so like my number 1 was definitely like regrettable, memorable. This one I feel kind of indifferent about because it's not great, but it's not horrible. There was a time in the mid 90s, late 90s. Do you remember the metallic white eyeshadow?
Oh, yeah.
So white eyeshadow was my best friend. Almost all the pictures I have of me going out in college, I have this white. And when I talk white eyeshadow, I'm talking lid to brow cover. You remember this, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there was no matte coloring. It was shimmery. It was glimmery. It was bright white.
It's kind of funny. It kind of reminds me like people associate like that bright blue eyeshadow with
Yeah.
the 80s. It's kind of like that, but white. So we thought it was cool because
Yep.
it wasn't that, but it was kind of just the same thing.
It
just
was.
different color.
So but I liked it.
Yeah.
And I still think it's kind of fun. But so like all these pictures for me in college, if I didn't have white, pastels were coming back at that time too. You paired that with a dark lip, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And my pencil thin eyebrows. That was me going out. 1998, y'all.
I've never been good at like makeup trends or fashion. Just never. Like I would just be tan and that was it. You know, bronzer
Be
too.
tan.
Bronzer and mascara. But I had a girlfriend in college. She's still a good friend of mine. And she was great at all that stuff. Ended up like selling makeup at some point in her 20s. And I remember she would wear those styles and she looked amazing. You know, she'd have like the bright lip. And I was just like, it was just almost like overwhelming to me. Like I don't know how to do that.
Oh, I thought you meant looking at her was
No.
overwhelming.
Well, in a good way, because she looked so great. But she would take a lot of time to
Yes.
do it, and I'd be like, I don't know about that.
I
I'm not
know.
gonna do
I don't know if it looked good. I don't know. I don't regret it. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to do. But I'm telling you. In fact, I remember one time, a sorority sister of mine, who I'm still friends with, we were together for something in recent years as grown-ups, and we were looking at old pictures. And she's like, "Oh, you in that white eyeshadow?" You know, Beth, I'm talking about you. And I was like, I know. I loved and white eyeliner. Remember the white eyeliner? So white eyeshadow was definitely a core memory for me.
Yeah.
in my time.
experimental with that makeup.
Yeah.
Well, my next one, same thing, kind of indifferent, and I've seen some teenagers and young women wearing these now too, are those baby doll dresses.
I loved
Me
those. I still do.
too. Yeah, me too. I would still
They're so
totally
comfy.
wear them. And that's what I was going to say. I've always been tall. And particularly when I was in like middle school, because I was tall early. Eventually I stopped growing. I'm 5'7", so I'm not like super tall. But when you're 5'7" in like 7th grade, you're super tall.
Yeah.
And so I loved them because they were a little short because I was tall, but they weren't like clingy and they were cute.
Right.
And they were comfortable, which I totally loved. And I looked them up just to be like, you know, what is the history of this? Where is this from? And supposedly baby doll nightgowns is where it comes from, which is World War II era, when there was a fabric shortage. So women's nightgowns got shorter.
Interesting.
And so when it kind of turned into, I think it was like 60s or 70s that they kind of started to be out on the street in normal everyday wear, not as nightgowns, but as dresses. That's what they called them. So that's what they're still called today. And I had some really cute ones. I had some plain ones.
Did you have floral print?
I had floral.
Yes.
Oh, I had sunflower.
Oh, yes.
Everything. And then I remember having like a black one that had like a collar. Do you remember collars?
Yes,
on
that came back.
dresses?
Like Wednesday
Yeah.
Addams, that kind of dress.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah. And I could probably, I will. I'll find some pictures of those. So that was mine because again, if I find one I like now, I'll wear it.
I love baby doll dresses. And you know what? I'm short. Like I'm the opposite of you because I'm 5'2" on a good day. But I love them because you can hide things you're uncomfortable with in
Yep.
them. Like I'm a petite person, but I gain all my weight in my middle. And when I was, you know, middle school age, high school age, where you're kind of, your body's figuring itself out. I loved those dresses because I could be I felt comfortable in them.
And cute. They were cute.
Yeah. And like everybody
Yeah.
was wearing them. Like I still love them. I think I probably still have some. I love me a good loose waistline of any kind.
Me
I do.
too.
Even though I'm small, like we all have our things, right? And we all want to be comfortable.
Wanna
And
be
I love a
comfortable
good
and feel comfortable.
and feel cute,
Yeah, feel
cute and comfy. Baby doll dresses. Oh,
Yes.
and they were popular. for a long time. And in many different ways, like I'm thinking of Courtney Love wore them all the time.
Yep.
Who's like grunge, but also they were on 90210, which is total preppy.
I think in Clueless, some of the people wore them. Yeah. So it kind of, to your point, it's sort of transcended class and like cliques, and if you're this type of person, that plays genres. Yeah, it was like there was a baby doll dress for everybody.
There was,
or many,
for
everyone.
Okay, so my number 3 here, this would be a positive memorable for me.
Okay.
And this is probably gonna cause some debate because not everybody liked this, but I have to say it was one of my most favorite things. So the Jennifer Aniston Rachel haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell y'all, it is still one of my favorite haircuts that I ever had. I loved it. Now, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, when Friends was at its heyday in the mid-90s, Jennifer Aniston's character, Rachel, got this haircut, and every white girl across the land
wanted it or tried it. Yeah.
Or tried it. So every hairstylist was scrambling, taking classes. I mean, I remember seeing advertisements for like the Paul Mitchell School, and it was like advertisements on how to do the Rachel.
Wow.
And I don't remember who my hairstylist was at the time, but they rocked it. And I still have a picture of me, but I loved that haircut. It was so cute. It was like just a little bit longer than shoulder length, and it had all the layers.
Yeah.
So even if you have thin, fine hair like I do, it gave you volume. It looked cute with straight hair or wavy or curly hair. I loved it, but you know what's interesting? She has said that she hated that cut.
Like on her.
She
didn't like it.
No, in general. She said it's the worst haircut that ever. She hated it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
In fact, I wish I would have looked up the exact quote, but she said something like she was, because she still has the same hairstylist that gave it to her. And she said she was so mad at him for bringing it into the world or something like that. I know.
That's amazing. So like you said, with your hair being finer.
Yes.
I didn't ever try it full out, but generally with layers, because my hair is so thick.
Yes.
And when I was younger, it was like more curly and wavy even than it is now. I just always had trouble with layers because my hair would just go out instead of down. So if I keep it long enough, I can do layers, but anything below the shoulder, it just kind of goes up.
So
to
maybe
my ears.
It didn't look cute with all hairs. I just thought it did.
I don't think it did look cute with all hair. Yeah.
You're right.
I imagine, especially if you had like curly hair, that would be tricky because
would.
There's so many layers of volume going on. But hey, maybe if you're a curly haired lady out there who did it and it looked great,
although
more power to you.
You know what? Like, maybe that, now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably why I liked it. It's because it gave me volume. Like, and you know, I would blow dry my hair, get my big barrel curling iron, flip the bottom part out.
Yep.
But you know what? I would never cut my hair like that now. But I thought it was cute, and I think I looked cute with it. And I had my little blonde highlights in the front. Some little low lights in there. I loved that haircut. I don't regret that choice. I don't regret that choice.
You should own that.
I don't.
You're not going to make it again, but at the time.
And I mean, Jennifer Aniston regrets it. But
yeah, she.
But it's iconic.
Like
I mean, it's like
forever.
It was our generation's Farrah Fawcett cut.
I was just about to say same thing, like the feathering.
Yep.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry, listeners, I burped. The feathering at the with the Farrah Fawcett, and you know, no one would probably really do that now. But the women who followed that trend at the time looked great.
Except that actually has kind of come back with those wolf cuts.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, and the curtain bangs
and the
too,
curtain
that
bangs.
they can kind of tease.
And like the center part, which I tried to get back and I can't.
You can't get it.
Nah.
Dang.
I just have to take my middle-aged side part. I tried to rock it. I promised my hairdresser, because she's young. She was like, just give it a try. So I did for like 2 months. I was like, okay, nope.
You're like,
it looks weird.
Offset it, please.
I can't. Just let me be. Let me be.
Yeah, let me be happy.
Anyway, so what's your number 3?
So my number 3 also is one that I still love. And it was flannels, flannel everything, mostly flannel shirts if we're talking about that time period. But, you know, now we've got like the flannel PJ pants that are really popular again. I bought my first flannel shirt like 20 years ago. And wait a minute. Let me re-say that. That's not what I meant. I read my own writing wrong. Let me try again. Well, maybe edit that out. Maybe we won't. My first flannel shirt was way more than 20 years ago, by the way, because I was not 20 when I got it. Try like 33 years ago. I bought my first flannel shirt in 20 years last fall. I can't remember the last time I had bought one.
I see.
I still have some already. And then like, you know, I think I grabbed a few from my dad's closet at one point that I still have, but I actually physically bought one last fall, and it's like that buffalo plaid, like the red and black, and it's got that like soft flannel feel, and I was just so happy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get more. But I remember I had a blue one when I was in like 8th grade, and it's in my 8th grade school picture. I'm wearing overalls that have a little sunflower on the little front pocket.
I had those too.
And I have like a striped blue shirt.
Ribbed.
Yes. And then over that, I have my blue flannel, and I have braces and a perm, which I really didn't need. And it is the best picture, but I loved that shirt. I wore it forever. I don't think I have it anymore, but I loved it. And one thing I really loved, especially if you were wearing overalls, is you could tie it around your waist.
The flannel shirt around the waist was like a thing.
It's a thing. And again, everyone was doing it. It was kind of an offshoot of that Seattle grunge look.
Yes.
But really, like, everybody was wearing it. You know, I even think there are hints of flannel again, like in Clueless, you know, different people wearing it. So I will probably get more flannel, but that was a big one for me. I know when you and I were talking about this episode, I had a list of a few things. So I just wanted to mention that 2 of the things that kind of came to mind that I decided not to delve into were like that starter jacket vibe where you wore like the different teams and stuff. That was huge in the Midwest. I don't know if that was huge.
It was, but I mean, I grew up in South Louisiana, so like
you didn't really need them.
Well,
also the Chicago Bulls were like on their 3-peat in the 90s. So everyone where I was from, because I was from I'm from the Chicago area, had their Chicago Bulls starter jackets and jerseys. And then the one strap overalls. I remember doing that, and remember my dad just like thinking that was the worst thing ever, and I couldn't walk out of the house if both weren't attached. I was probably 8th or 9th grade. And I was like, what's the big deal? You know, but it was like a no for him. But when we were talking about it, we realized both of those trends really originated from hip hop culture.
Right.
And, you know, me walking around in my Chicago Bulls jersey and one white thing attached was certainly a form of appropriation that I wasn't aware of at the time, but probably not something I'm going to return to now that I'm older and wiser. Looks great on the hip hop people that wear them, of course, the hip hop culture and all of that, but probably not something I needed to be wearing back then or now.
Well, that is an interesting piece, because a lot of fashion and beauty trends, you know, are borrowed from other cultures.
Yeah.
In a negative way. I say borrowed, stolen probably. So we should probably call attention to that. Yeah, because and a lot of times when they're stolen by, it's all about power and oppression, you know, stolen by the dominant culture to be used, it kind of takes away the meaning, how it originated, and also, again, stealing from another culture for your what's the word I'm looking for your fun and whatever. It kind of it's not okay. So we're gonna like we said, we didn't know that as kids, but we know that now. So it's just we wanted to call attention to that, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure the people making the starter jackets, the starter company, didn't mind that everyone was trying to buy those, right? It's the capitalism.
There you go. You knew I was gonna say it.
It's back.
I was gonna say capitalism. Yep. Yeah, but you know what? Flannels? Were you weren't a grunge person?
No, I wasn't.
I was so into. I mean, okay, so Nirvana, I was like hugely obsessed with. When Kurt Cobain died in 95, I believe it was 95. It like rocked my world. Me and my best friend at the time, Katie, another Katie.
Aww.
We were just wrecked, and I remember we like would VCR tape MTV had like tributes to him all the time. But I was really into to the grunge music. I still am. Like my husband and I don't like a lot of the same music, but that's our one collective agreement. But again, the flannel shirts were all over. But I remember I had one that was just like one that Kurt Cobain had.
Nice. Yeah, and I don't know what it is about flannel. I feel like too, flannel's like very like it can be worn sort of by everyone. And it gives the same vibe and it looks great, you know?
Also funny because you grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in the South Louisiana. You don't really need flannel a lot. No. So that whole tying around the waist accessory business was very helpful.
That was important. I think that right there helped the flannel industry out a lot because maybe you don't need to wear it over you. I mean, I'm in Florida now. That's why I said I bought one last fall and I think I've worn it to a football game or two, or if I know I'll be inside, but it's not really like
flannel if you know you're going to be inside in Florida.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And my mom, as a little side note, she wasn't into flannels back then, but now that she's a little older, she has Alzheimer's. She loves wearing flannel shirts.
Yeah, it's like a blanket.
Like it is. She'll layer them up. She can button them, which like gives her something to do with her hands, and just like the softness and the comfort. It's just funny that something that she was kind of like, I don't know about that. Now she's sort of like, oh, these are great. Yeah. You know,
well, then that we all do that. We all around.
We all do for sure.
All come around to things because the older you get, the more comfy you want to be.
And you mentioned the thing about flannel in Louisiana. I know my high schoolers, they'll go to school in hoodies here in Florida.
Yeah.
And I'm like, aren't you going to be
it's 95 hot in there?
Degrees. But it's a fashion thing. It's a comfort thing.
It is.
And so, I mean, I get it. I was in Indiana, but if we were wearing flannels in the South back in the 90s, I guess they can wear their hoodies now. And they can tie those around their waist too if they wanted to, I suppose.
True.
Little more bulky, but
they won't do that.
They'll just sweat. Well, that's their choice.
All right. So that was a fun little walk down memory lane. I mean, we could go on and on. I mean, like, when I was thinking of memorable fashion beauty things, I forgot about perm. I had a perm as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
I mean, there's so many
That'd
things
be a good
we
one.
could say.
Well, maybe we'll have a part 2 at some point.
And we'll definitely have pictures of this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, my pencil thin eyebrows lasted me forever. So
there you go.
Dang curse. All right. Well, thank you for listening to Generation In Between, a Xennial or Xennial podcast. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends of all generations. Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, only if you like us, though, please. Yeah. You can also find us on patreon.com and become a monthly supporter and have access to bonus episodes just like this one and other perks. That information is also linked in our show notes. So until next time, keep wearing that white eyeshadow and
stay away from the tweezers, kids.
Yeah. Oh, stay away from the tweezers.
And the sun.
Yes.
Stay far, far away.
All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.